Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers and Facebookers all across the nation. This is Uneducated Sports Talk presented by Uneducated Network. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and we got some good news for you guys today. We will announce the American League and the National League All-Star starters and some pictures for the All-Star game. Let you know right now, it's crazy. A lot of young talent going on. Both teams are stacked, but I'll tell you who's the more stacked team. And we'll give you our top 100 players, and we are on players 70 through 61 today. So with that being said, let's start off with the NFL side. Like I said, we've already done 100 through 71. Now it's 70 through 61. And in this class, this 10 guys is actually well-known guys. So now we start getting to the part where these guys have been there, done that. You know, usually the top 20, the low 20s, 100 through 80, those are the kind of guys that just got their way into it. And they're kind of fresh, brand new guys. Well, now we've got seasoned veterans and guys who've been there, done that. And speaking of been there, done that, number 70, Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Washington Redskins. Look, he's having a phenomenal career right now with the Redskins. The only problem is a lot of other quarterbacks are having phenomenal years as well. And him being quarterback is giving them issues where they want to go. He is the first person to be, what do they say? Franchised twice. There we go. I'm like, what's the word? Franchise. He's been franchised 2 years in a row now. Right now he's making 23 point something million dollars. It's a lot of money for a one-year deal. But he broke a franchise record, 4,917 yards. And he led the league in passer rating pretty much the whole entire year. That being said, the issue is with him being so good, they really can't focus on their defense like they want to. That's the reason why they keep giving them these franchise tags. The only problem is he's going to do it 2 years in a row now. Is do we give him all that money for a big old contract, which he wants, but at the same time, it hasn't really gotten him anywhere. They've made the playoffs twice since he's been there, but both time first round exits. So they're saying like, well, what can we do to better ourselves? Can we focus on defense and get another quarterback who can probably be a game manager, or we focus on our quarterback and our defense suffers and we get beating out the playoffs every year? So they're in a tough dilemma. In my opinion, quarterbacks come a dime a dozen. Pay the man his money. Pay him a good 4 or 5 year deal. In my opinion, I'm not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan, and him breaking the franchise record is not really a big deal because a lot of guys in this past happy league now will start breaking franchise records. So it won't be nothing new. Right now it seems kind of new, but everyone's gonna start breaking franchise records just because the defense is built to not succeed in the NFL anymore. But number 70 is a good spot for Kirk Cousins. Got number 69, Jay Ajayi, running back, Miami Dolphins, and he had a phenomenal breakout career year. I know that fantasy owners loved him when they did have him. Back-to-back 200-yard games. Only 3 guys in front of him have done that. Ridiculous kind of numbers. 1,272 total yards. Rushing yards for Jay Ajayi. And, oh my God. He's a bruising running back. Boise State. When I saw him in Boise State, you didn't see that. You saw the power, but you didn't think it would transfer to the NFL like it's showing. He has just enough power and just enough agility to get through people and get around people. And he's a big dude. When he puts a hat on you, you're gonna feel it. And he's doing a good job. And what can you say? Back-to-back 20 yards is difficult to do, like ever. Like I said, only 3 guys in front of him. So Jay Ajayi, number 69 for the Miami Dolphins, running back. He had an excellent career. Hopefully he can continue it this year as well. Number 68, Geno Atkins, defensive tackle of the Cincinnati Bengals. He led all D tackles in the NFL with 9 sacks. And that's what he's been doing his whole entire career pretty much. He got injured last year, so he didn't really come out. But this year he was fully healthy, and he looked pretty freaking good. He's very agile. That's what I like about him. He's a big dude, but he's agile. And the thing about him is he's smart. He knows to stay in position, to stay at home, to get out of that position. Those kind of things, those wrinkles I like about him as well. So Geno Atkins he's one of my favorite D tackles in the game. Greg Stevens, if you're listening, that's your Cincinnati Bengals. That's his man right there. So, but Geno Atkins is the anchor of that defense. He has to. the defense is pretty good. When you add Burfict, who's kind of unhinged, unwind, it makes everything a little more difficult. But Geno Atkins, number 68 in the top 100. And that's about a good spot for my like. Number 67, Greg Olsen, the dynamic tight end from Carolina. And this is three straight 1,000-yard receivings. He had a monster beginning of the season. I would know. I had him in fantasy the whole entire year. He had a monster season. Monster. I mean, the first 8-9 games. And all of a sudden, Cam Newton came to that press conference saying he was getting hit too hard. The NFL's not fun for him. And ever since that press conference, Cam went down. As in, productivity went down, playmaking went down, which means Greg Olsen's receiving went down. Catch attempts went down. I don't think he scored a touchdown probably his last 6-7 games. And I would know. I had him for fantasy. Hurt me big time. Thanks, Cam. But with that being said, Greg Olsen is still an elite tight end when it comes out of pass catching, going vertical. He is probably the best vertical tight end in the game. And when he gets the ball, he's running, he's very, very fast. He's probably one of the fastest tight ends in the game as well. So Greg Olsen is number 67 in the top 100. I think he could be higher, somewhere in the 50s, maybe 40s in my opinion. But like I said, he did tail off at the end of the season because of Cam Newton's tailing off as well. We don't know what happened to Cam. Shame on you, Cam. Number 66, Xavier Rhodes, cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings. And I love Xavier Rhodes. He likes to stick his nose in people's business. And I love that about him. I love that. Certain guys in this league, cornerback is the toughest position to play. I don't care what you say. In this pass-happy league where the defense really has no chance to be successful, cornerback play is probably the toughest position. And I applaud guys who are cornerbacks because they have to stop and run and make decisions on a dime. If not, you're looking at pass catches all over the place. Xavier Rhodes is one of those guys who get up in your business. I like that. 5 interceptions. He led the Vikings with interceptions. And, well, let's see. What was that? Oh, yeah. Low completion percentage. Like, no one catches the ball on him. For people who've been targeted 75 times or more, he has the lowest percentage of people catching the ball. And that's what you call stick in your nose. That means he's getting a lot of deflections. He's getting in there. He's making it difficult. He's swatting like 20 times to get the ball out. I like that from my cornerback as well. So, number 66 is Xavier Rhodes. Number 65, Jordan Reed, another dynamic tight end for the Washington Redskins this time. He is basically a wide receiver, a bigger wide receiver playing the tight end position. And I love it. I love it. He's very vertical, just like Greg Olsen. And he might be, I think Greg Olsen is probably a little faster now. But Jordan Reed played big. He was injured all last year, but still played. He had a bad shoulder and everything. And he still played and went in beast mode in a lot of games. 17 touchdowns since 2015. So he's a touchdown machine when it comes down to the tight end position. He is one of those guys that Kirk Cousins look to, when he needs help. And tight end is always your security blanket. And Jordan Reed is a very good security blanket for Kirk Cousins. And happy to see him in the top 100 at number 65. At number 64, we have Casey Hayward. And he's the cornerback for the San Diego Chargers. This dude right here, he is very opportunistic. And I like guys like that. When you're a cornerback, you got to have the swag. You got to take chances. You got to be that dude. I'm just saying, you got to be that dude if you're playing cornerback in the NFL. And he's that dude. He takes chances and he gambles a lot, and I like that about him. 7 interceptions. 7 to lead the NFL this year. With that being said, 54 pass ratio. Passer rating, excuse me. When people are throwing to him, there's a 54% passer rating, excuse me. That means no one's catching the ball to him. Just like Xavier Rhodes, they get down and dirty and gritty. They get up in your face, and I like that. And I like guys who take chances. The guys who swat the ball, a lot of deflections. Let's be honest, you won't get an interception on every single play. It's not going to happen. But what you can do is make things difficult. When there's a 3rd and long, a 2nd and long, or whatever, obvious pass downs, you want to get up in the plays. I like guys who play great man-to-man defense. I'm not a big fan of the zone. I never have been. Pittsburgh, change that. Change it up, please, when you're playing against Tom Brady. I like a good man-to-man physical defense, and I think that with that being said, Casey Hayward, one of the best man-to-man defenders in the game. Chris Harris, another cornerback. There's a cornerback frenzy going on. And look, he has great instincts. He is our number 63 in the top 100. So you basically go Xavier Rhodes at 66, you go Casey Hayward at 64, and now we have Chris Harris at number 63, cornerback for the Denver Broncos, and good instincts. He's only a handful of players who've been to the Pro Bowl 3 straight years at the cornerback position. Like I said, it's a very tough position to be in because you can have a great year, then all of a sudden you can have a bad year. So if you're one of the top elite guys in the cornerbacks, you're a really damn good player. You know, when you got your Patrick Petersons and you have guys like that, and then you have your Richard Shermans, and then now you have Chris Harris. They constantly make it to the Pro Bowls because they're constantly good. They're constantly good. You know you're good when people stop throwing to your area. And sometimes in the league, people stop throwing Chris Harris area. Now, he doesn't have a lot of interceptions, but he doesn't give up any big plays either. So he's a big part of that Denver Broncos stout defense as well. And Chris Harris is number 63 in the top 100. Number 62, Cameron Wake, the defensive end for the Dolphins. And it's funny how this guy was an undrafted free agent and got picked up. 4 straight seasons. Over 4 seasons, I don't know about it was 4 straight, but I know it was 4 seasons with 11 plus sacks in his career. I don't know if it was 4 straight, but that right there is being dominant. You add him, then you add Sue in the middle, and these guys should be better. And hopefully this year is a little turnaround for them. But Cameron Wake is a guy who will always stick his nose in there. He's always hitting the quarterback. He's commanding double teams, which making Sue command double team. And with having Sue there, you're not going to have as many double teams for you, Mr. Cameron Wake. So with Sue there, because Sue was actually getting the bulk of double teams, which makes Cameron Wake's job a little easier. So 11.5 sacks he had this year, and Cameron Wake is number 62 in the top 100. And for a reason, I like him there. And number 61, probably my most disappointing spot for this fella here, T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver at the Indianapolis Colts. 1,448 receiving yards for the year, which led the NFL. Led the NFL. No, there's Antonio Brown, those kind of guys, but T.Y. Hilton led the NFL, and he's only 61. I thought he should have been way higher. I thought he was probably in the 30s, somewhere in that area, maybe mid-20s, to my opinion, because he is the heart and soul of that offense. Because outside of him, Andrew Luck can't throw it to anybody. He can't. T.Y. Hilton is the go-to guy. So he's playing with a lot of double teaming. A lot of coverage looking towards him. So I expect what T.Y. Hilton does. Fast, shifty, that kind of guy. He's small in stature, but he plays big. And you like those kind of guys as well. I thought 61 was a little too low for T.Y. because as good as he is, I mean, he's been balling. 5,000 receiving yards probably the last, I believe, 3 or 4 years now. So he's consistently doing it. And I figured that 61 was probably a little low. The peers should have gave him about 30, somewhere in 30. But that's just my opinion. But that wraps up our 70 through 61 top 100 players of the NFL. I'll recap the names again. At number 70, Kirk Cousins, quarterback from the Washington Redskins. Number 69, Jay Ajayi, running back for the Miami Dolphins. 68, Geno Atkins, defensive tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. 67, Greg Olsen, tight end for the Carolina Panthers. 66, Xavier Rhodes, cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings. 65, Jordan Reed, tight end for the Washington Redskins. 64, Casey Hayward, cornerback for the San Diego Chargers. 63, Chris Harris, cornerback for the Denver Broncos. 62, Cameron Wake, defensive end for the Miami Dolphins. And 61, T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. That's your 70 through 61 in the top 100 NFL. And I think that was a pretty good spot. Outside of T.Y. Hilton, I think everyone is pretty much deserved to be where they were. Greg Olsen maybe a little bit higher probably, but we're talking 50s, that kind of thing. But he had a bad end of the season. That being said, I did promise baseball news now. Of course, the All-Star game is coming, I believe, July 11th, which is next Tuesday. So, with that being said, they have announced the AL starters and the National League All-Stars as well, starters. And with that being said, let's go with the AL first. So, at catcher, it's going to be Salvador Perez, Kansas City Royals. And Salvador mixed with Yadier Molina, those guys are constantly in the All-Star games. Yadier is hurt this year, but those guys, Yadier is from the NL, Salvador's with the AL. Those guys make it to the I don't want to say Pro Bowl all the time, but the All-Star game every single year because how good they are behind the plate, back catching. At first base for the AL, Justin Smoke from Toronto, big hitter like him. At second base, Jose Altuve, probably one of my favorite players in the game, probably because he's about my height. He's 5'6". I'm probably an inch or two taller than him, but still, they had a crazy picture of him standing next to Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is like 6'7". Altuve is 5'6". It is funny how foot makes a big difference. Wow, that's a big difference when it comes down to a foot. But Jose Altuve is still one of the best players in the game to this day at second baseman. At third base, we have Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Indians, who's making it this year. At shortstop, another Astro, Carlos Correa, young prospect, and he's just been a baby boomer. That's what I like to call him. 3 straight years of 15-plus home runs, and he's only getting better. He's only going to get better, man. So at right field, the man everyone's been talking about this whole entire season, Aaron Judge for the New York Yankees. So far, 27 home runs. He is 6'7", 280, and hitting 330 and busting home runs 500, 700, 1,000 feet. Not really, but still, he's blasting these baseballs to outer space. It's feeling like it. That's a grown young man. Aaron Judge is a grown young man handling business out there, and he's not fazed about. Now this is a little different. The sports are too different. So when you're big in basketball compared to you're big in baseball, it's two different things. Just Aaron Judge is hot in baseball, but he's not feeling the pressure at all. Now it's two different type of pressure when you're playing basketball, football, baseball, but he's not feeling the pressure, man. And baseball is a losing sport. It's a losing sport. That means the best hitters only hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. That means you missed the ball 7 times. So it's a failure sport. But Aaron Judge he's carrying it with great passion, and you can tell he loves the game. Hitting 330, something like that, busting home runs. Wow, that's all I can say is wow about Aaron Judge. Center field, Mike Trout. Mike Trout is coming back from injury. Hopefully, I don't know if I didn't look into it to see if he's actually going to play the game or not, but he did get picked in at center field because I don't think he hasn't played that much this season, and he's been hurt. So I'm curious to see if he's actually going to play the game or someone will take his spot. Mike Trout, he's the best player in the game. 5-star, 5-tool kind of guy, 5-star tool, whatever that word is, but he can do everything. So, and at DH, Corey Dickerson. Corey Dickerson is a beast as well, so he's going to do his thing. Mike Trout for the Angels, and then you got Corey Dickerson. And just to name a couple of pitchers for the American League, Dallas Keuchel from Houston Astros, just a beast doing his thing. Yu Darvish, Texas Rangers as well. All these guys are in this. Look, they're looking good. We have Corey Kluber from the Cleveland Indians, and then you also have Chris Sale from Boston. This American League All-Star lineup is stacked with young talent who have power. Not to mention that this year they're gonna break the record for most home runs in one season by a collective, outing from each team. Teams are blasting the ball this year because kids are getting stronger, they're smarter. It's not a travel ball now. It's finally starting to catch up. It's catching up now. People are getting good. Better practice, better medicine to help you out, better teaching everywhere to play the game of baseball. And now, man, people are rocking the baseball. And it's almost like even the skinny dudes, 10 years ago, we had the big fat dudes. We had the Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire, the big old cock strong dudes hitting home runs. Now you got the skinny dudes hitting home runs all day. So it's like everyone in the league has like 16 home runs. And that's crazy. Like everyone's averaging like 16, 17 home runs. There's so many people with 15 to 19 home runs in the league. It's crazy. So that being said, on to the National League before we wrap things up. Buster Posey is the starting catcher. Like I said, Yadier Molina is hurt, so if he was healthy, I'm pretty sure he would be starting. But Buster Posey is not a bad backup at all. The Giants are slumping, but he is playing lights out. So he is back catching. That's his 5th All-Star appearance as well. At first baseman, Ryan Zimmerman, the Washington Nationals. What can I say about that team in the NL? They have a lot of starters going on, and I'll name them in a second. But Ryan Zimmerman is playing first baseman. Second baseman, another national, Daniel Murphy, who's been balling as well, playing second base for the Washington Nationals. Third is Nolan Arenado. Lord Jesus, Arenado. Okay. So Nolan Arenado from Colorado. I don't really know too much about him, but I know that Colorado, before their slump, they've lost like 11 out of 12 now. Before their slump, they're one of the hottest teams in baseball because of their offense, and mainly because of him doing this thing at third base. Shortstop, Zach Cozart from Cincinnati. Cincinnati's having a bad year, but you got to pick somebody who's one of the few bright spots outside of Joey Votto, who's actually doing his thing for the Reds. And Charlie Blackmon, I know Charlie Blackmon from Colorado as well. He joins up with his teammate on third base, and they've been having an excellent year in the plate, but now don't know what's going on the last 2 weeks. They've been struggling hard as a whole team. I'm going ahead and blame it on pitching. Right field, the man himself, Bryce Harper, who might be the second best player outside of Mike Trout right now. But Bryce Harper playing right field, and nothing to say about that guy. He's just good. He's just good. That makes up 3 starters for the National League, for the Washington Nationals, and then we have 3 starters in the American League from the Houston Astros. That might be, I'm just saying, those 2 teams could meet up. Just saying. And at left field, Marcell Ozuna from Miami's very own Miami Marlins. They are hosting the All-Star game, and he's going to be the starter. Thank God that Juan Carlos is going to be in it as well as a reserve. So I was like, why he's not starting? But it's a tough spot, so I'm glad to see him in the game. And pitching-wise, Zach Greinke for Arizona, Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. You get Robbie Ray from Arizona, and then you get Max Scherzer from Washington. Those are just the few guys. But with that being said, I think that the American League has the better talent, the younger players, the stronger players than the National League. Now, you never know in the All-Star game. You don't know. Anything can happen, obviously. But if I had to pick a winner, I'm going with the American League just because of their pitching and just because of their hitters are just amazing. You know, Carlos Correa, Mike Trout, and Jose Altuve, those guys are just good, man. Like, and Aaron Judge. I mean, it'd be funny. I hope Aaron Judge does rock a home run out of there. That'd be nice to see. But that being said, that's the All-Star starters and some of the pitchers as well. I don't know who's actually the starting pitchers for each team. I haven't really looked into that. But those are your starters for the American League and the National League. And it's going to be a fun time. The All-Star game, I always watch it, and it's always a fun time. And that's one of the games where even you got to still take it serious. You can't just fake it. Like, the NBA All-Star game is a joke now, pretty much. It's a joke. Teams scoring almost 200 points. It's a joke now. But in football, it's been a joke in the Pro Bowl. That's just a waste of time. But the baseball, they still treat it like a regular game, and you have to. There's no more whoever wins is going to be having home field advantage for the World Series. It's not going to happen. I'm glad they stopped that. It was great to get people involved into the All-Star game, but now you got to realize the best team has to be the host of the World Series, and I'm glad they did that route. So that being said, there's the Home Run Derby. We'll talk about that when it does happen. And then there's, I wish they had more things to do for the All-Star break for baseball, but they just don't. I don't. There's nothing they can really do about that, and I'm not blaming them. But I would think that you can try and make it better somehow. But it's really getting to that time where I will actually start watching Major League Baseball on a regular somewhere in late July, August, when I really get my baseball frenzy going on. I would definitely have bigger news about baseball. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy the All-Star game. I hope you guys enjoy Uneducated Sports Talk as well, man. Like, subscribe, comment. Check me out on Facebook. My name is Carlos Clayton. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, if that helps. And check me out on Twitter at Carlos Clayton _ I repeat, at Carlos Clayton _ And if you haven't, please subscribe to Uneducated Network on YouTube. This is YouTube. But subscribe to it, please, on Uneducated Network. You'll see my show. You have Star Wars Talk by Chris Lambert, Uneducated Sports Talk by Carlos Clayton, So You Think You Know Sports by Craig Turtle Jones. We've got all kind of things going on with that right now. So just, be patient. We'll have it all out. But subscribe so you get the early news, the early stuff going on with it, man. So had a blast talking baseball as usual. Had a blast talking the top 170 through 61 as well. I named those guys. So, this is Uneducated Sports Talk. And I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. As always, sports fans, stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.